from Bohannon Associates Land Surveying.
And this is Sheila Arnett, Commissioner Earl Arnett's wife.
And we are here representing Bohannon Associates team for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life.
1 out of every 3 people has been impacted by cancer. As you're hearing this, our good friend Bridget Harmon is battling cancer for the 2nd time. And we are showing our support to her and everyone else that cancer has impacted by hosting a team for Relay for Life.
We want to let you know about a very important fundraiser March 11th at Gator Docksides off of 200 between 5 and 9 p.m.
Gator Docksides will donate 10% of sales from the event directly to Relay for Life.
And we'll have a silent auction full of wonderful gift baskets, so please make sure you come out and support us in fighting this terrible disease.
March 11th at Gator Docksides from 5 to 9.
If you'd like to donate items for the auction, please contact me at 352-875-8766.
Or me at 352-209-1037.
Please join us in supporting a great cause.
Career Source Citrus Levy Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source Citrus Levy Marion and learn how they can help you.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 840-0750. That's 840-0750.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning into The Source, WOCA, this Monday morning. Boy, we've got a great book to talk to you about. It's a novel, but I think it explores a lot of things about society in the course of telling us a very page-turning story. Jeannette de Beauvoir is on the phone. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. She's an award-winning author, a novelist. She's a poet whose work has been translated into 12 languages. I believe, I think she's up in Canada. At least the story took place in Montreal. She's appeared, or the books have appeared in 15 countries. Maybe she has also. The new book that she's talking about right now is called Asylum. It is a mystery novel. Wait till you hear about it. Jeannette, good morning, Jeannette. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you, and you did a great job with my name.
Are you in Montreal right now?
I'm actually not. I live on Cape Cod.
Oh, okay.
But I spend a fair amount of my time in Montreal.
Is that where you're from?
No, I'm actually from France. I grew up in Angers, which is a city in the Loire Valley. But I moved to America when I'm half American. My mom was American, and I moved to America when I was in my early 20s and found that Montreal was kind of who I am if I were a city. It's part French, part American.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got a little of everything.
I have visited Montreal and the city of Quebec, and so I have a question for you. Since you grew up in France, is the French language really different, or is it pretty much the same?
I'd say it probably has much of the same differences you'd see between British English and American English.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly a matter of accent. And the further north you go in Quebec, the thicker the accent is. I will say the first time I ever went to Montreal, I went to church, and I was sitting in church and listening to the sermon and thinking, I don't understand a word.
Oh, really? Oh, really? So if we learn to speak French in Montreal, in Quebec rather, in the province, we might not be able to survive in France. We might need to relearn the language, huh?
Well, you certainly have to work on your accent a bit, yeah.
So when you write a book, do you normally write it in English?
Yes, I actually write almost exclusively in English now. It's, it's when I first moved here, every year I think, I'm going to move back to France next year. And after about 20 years of doing that, you realize I'm really not going to, and that this is home. And I love English. I think that both English and French are wonderful, wonderful languages, but I work so much in English that it really is my first language now.
Is that right? Let's talk about the book since we don't have a whole lot of time to talk about it, which is a little bit disappointing. But this is an interesting story because I sure hope there's never anybody who's done this as far as murdering people and putting them on park benches, the deceased victims. That's a I don't know what word to use there. Disturbing. That's a disturbing thing. Yeah.
It is disturbing. No, that actually was fiction. That came out of my head. But the history that gets uncovered in the course of the novel is unfortunately very true. I've always been fascinated by secrets. Everyone's got secrets in their past, whether they're people or nations or communities or groups. Everyone's got something that they'd probably rather people didn't know about.
Right.
And I think that one of the interesting things you can do in a mystery novel is sort of use those secrets to create a situation where someone needs to act so that, I don't want my secret to be uncovered, so I'm going to have to kill this person. It makes for a great motive for a mystery novel.
And that's what you do. You set us up to almost understand the killer, and explain for the listeners how you did that. You used orphanages from the 1950s.
Right. Well, what happened, and this part, as I say, is sadly true. What happened was there were a lot of orphanages in Quebec, in the province, due to the fact that it was very Catholic and unwed mothers were not supposed to have children around. So there were a lot of orphanages, and that's already a given. But on top of it, then the federal government of Canada in the 40s and 50s decided that they were going to give more money to institutions that were for the criminally insane, or the insane, I should just say, than for orphanages. So in Quebec, the government of Maurice Duplessis decided, okay, we've got all these kids that nobody knows about, nobody cares about. Let's put them in insane asylums and we'll get more money for them. And they became known as the Duplessis orphans, and it was really a horrifying thing to do, because you've got, quote unquote normal kids who if you live in an asylum your whole life, you're probably not going to end up normal at the end.
I would think so. Yeah.
So that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually factual. The remaining Duplessis orphans who managed to survive, and it sounds like it was very difficult to survive this, did actually eventually get some restitution from the province, but they were all elderly. It didn't go to court because they wanted to settle, because they wanted the money, obviously, before they died. And pretty much this has been sort of put under the carpet. So I'm wondering
if in writing the story and using that as sort of a backdrop for the story, did you feel like you were expressing some maybe political opinion of your own, even though the political opinion wouldn't apply to today? Or am I wrong about that?
I'm not sure I've ever thought of it as political. I think I've always thought of it as humanitarian.
Right, okay.
I'm not a muckraker. I don't want to expose people's secrets for the sake of hurting them or anything like that. But I do think that everyone needs to be able to face up to things that were done that were wrong. The Catholic Church, I'm Catholic, but the Catholic Church was very much involved with this. And, we're only going to become better people and better institutions if we can move on, having acknowledged the fact that sometimes we've screwed up.
Okay, so maybe my choice of words was wrong, but I think the question was the same. In other words, so you wrote a novel and you created this really spellbinding story, but at the same time you're elevating our awareness of some of the mistakes we've made in the past.
Right, and to some extent, I think that that's one of the things that novelists do. We open a window for you to see whether it's a past event, whether it's history, whether it's understanding the human heart. There are novels that bring you deep into technology and teach you something about that. I think that at its best, any kind of novel opens up some new way of thinking about something to the reader. At least I hope so.
Real quick, I want to ask you about your poetry in the other languages. Is it harder to translate poetry because of the rhyming part of it?
Oh, Lord, yes.
I was thinking that's got to be difficult.
It's not so much even the rhyming. It's the rhythm as much as it's the rhyming. In fact, the poetry that I write is not rhyming, but it is very rhythmic. And I think that I don't translate it myself, and people who translate it are just phenomenal.
Oh, really? Because like some in the Bible, how they have, I think Psalms, and I think Psalms were at one time poems or songs or something. And
precisely, yes.
And they don't translate as such because I think when I read them in English, I can see that they were poems, but they don't have that same cadence.
Right, exactly. You can't see yourself walking down the street and humming one of them.
Your book is called Asylum. I have a copy of the book that was sent to us. If you're listening and you would like the copy, call me 622-9622. You can have this copy. The rest of us have to go buy it. Jeannette, do you have a website?
I do. It's www.Jeannette, Jeannette, author.com.
Oh, wow. Nobody has that already, huh? So JeannetteAuthor.com.
No, we got a Jeannette author.
That's good. And again, if you're looking up Jeannette on Amazon, Jeannette de Beauvoir, Beauvoir is how you spell Beauvoir. Is it on Amazon?
It is, absolutely. And on Amazon, at your local independent bookseller, at Powell's, wherever you'd like to be, and then also wherever you'd like to find it, it will be there.
Yeah, and
it's available both as hard copy and there's an ebook format as well.
And it is a very disturbing murder mystery. It's very disturbing what the murderer does, setting up the deceased bodies on park benches. Jeannette,
right.
Thank you, Jeannette. Well, you're a fun guest. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Well, you're a fun host. Thanks so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
All right, thank you. Stay warm. Where are you, in Cape Cod? Stay warm in Cape Cod.
Doing our best, I'll tell you.
Well, if you're in Florida, we do have some sunshine down here. Just trying to be...
I've heard rumors to that effect. As I look out at the snow as we're speaking, yeah.
Well, I miss the snow. Thank you, Jeannette.
All right, thanks, Larry. Bye-bye.
Right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. Pressure continues to build on Hillary Clinton for